Hi, welcome to my first video. I thought for the first one I would give you some background on me and my health issues. So in case in the future I want to talk about them, there will be a reference point for you to look back at and know what's going on. First up, let's just tell you about my childhood experience, so you'd have a little bit of an understanding of my actions. I grew up a vegetarian, macrobiotic diet, if you know what that means. So I was very, very healthy. Didn't have experience really going to the doctor. Didn't need to. I never broke anything, nothing. My family members were extremely healthy as well, so it was really no experiences dealing with any of that. I don't even remember having a cold, for that matter. So, and my very first experience really with a doctor was when I was 17. I went to the doctor and my mom brought up that I urinated a lot. And the doctor said that he was curious to see if I had, I think it was a calcium buildup in my urethra. We were kind of baffled by that, and why would I have that? He said it was something that happened often in young girls. So he sent me to what are they called? Urologist, to have a test done. Well, the test was taking a spade, this metal spade, and sticking up my urethra. Now, if you've ever had this done, it is excruciating. And not only is it excruciating while it's happening, which seems like takes forever, afterwards, the first time you urinate, I about screamed. My mom had to stop at a public library for me to go to the bathroom on the way home because I had to go really bad. And I almost screamed in that public bathroom. It was embarrassing and painful as hell. So that basically, in my mind, cemented that you don't go to the doctor unless there's something seriously wrong with you. You don't bring up the little minuscule things. They're just troublesome. So, yeah. Doctors, idiots in my book from that point forward. So, go ahead, number of years, still, I stopped eating vegetarian, which is perfectly fine. I like meat. But it's still very, very healthy. Still, people around me would always get sick, and I wouldn't get sick. Well, a few years ago, I started not feeling well. And it just kept getting worse. And then, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, while I was at work, my coworker went out of town. There was just 2 of us, and my bosses would not hire anybody else to help. So I ended up having to work open to close for 7 days in a brand new chair. So let's just say, and I was a front desk person, and by the end of that week, I was in so much pain in my legs. My chiropractor at the time was, my boss at the time was a chiropractor. So I saw him, and he said that I had inflammation of the sciatic sheath. Didn't really know what that meant, but whatever. So from that point forward, I would have pain and discomfort in my legs, especially on my right side. So keep that in mind. So, and other things would happen, and I just attributed it all to that. That I got a work injury that wasn't going to go away. Okay, screw it. So, keep going. I keep feeling worse and worse and worse, and I was tired all the time, and moody. And I kind of attributed that to the fact that I hated my job. Hated my job with a passion. So I just thought I was just over that. I was just stressed out, and I was just over that. So, whatever. I'm fine. Because I'm always fine. I'm never sick. Kept getting worse. And I started to think to myself, okay, there's something wrong. This is just not right. I started to look up on my symptoms on the internet. And I'd go through things and not much made sense. Came across diabetes. And as few of the things did, correlate to what was going on with me. But I thought to myself, like many people do, that false assumption that, well, wait a minute, I don't eat too much sugar. I barely eat sugar. And, I might be a little overweight, but I'm not obese. So, yeah, I don't have diabetes. Please, forget that. So I blew that off. Proceeded to get worse. Started to get a feeling in my right foot and the arch part of it. Every time I would stand up and walk around, that there was something there. Like I was stepping on something. But there's nothing there. So I blew that off. I proceeded to get more and more tired. Getting up in the morning was extremely hard. But I wrote that off. I'm like, well, I hate my job. I'm stressed out. Depressed. So yeah, of course, I'm going to feel this way. Keep going. Forcing myself to get up and do what I had to do. Force myself at the end of the day to do whatever errands I need to do after work. And then come home, get undressed, sit down on the couch, and just veg. Because I didn't have the energy to do anything else. By that time, people were starting to wonder at work about me. What was wrong. They started to worry about me. Me, I still wrote it off. I thought, I'm just lazy. I'm just a lazy person. That's all it is. Yeah, I've been told when I was younger that, oh, you're lazy. So I wrote it off again. I'm just lazy. I'm just tired and depressed and stressed and hate my job. And, oh, yeah, swelling of the sciatic sheath. That's what I attributed the foot issue to. So come last summer, I was just not feeling well often. Still writing it off. Considering, maybe there's something to do with my thyroid. Maybe this, maybe that. But I just couldn't. Nothing seemed right. Nothing made any sense to how I perceived myself and how I perceived any of these diseases. So, I got to the point where my feet started to swell. I thought that was odd. I mean, why are my feet swelling? And I just wrote it off again because I'm like, I'm never sick. I'm always fine. I'm just lazy. I'm just tired. I'm just depressed. And sciatic sheath. So yeah, that's my foot problem. That's all it is. From that point, I started having heart palpitations. I mean, I'd had them before, but I attributed that to anxiety. Feeling anxiety, you get the heart palpitation where you could feel it. Because, what else could it fucking be? So, kept going. My ankle started to swell. That's weird. Whatever. It's not a big deal. It's just swelling. Water retention. There you go. They continue to swell. Heart palpitations got worse. My breathing got worse. I started to feel faint a lot. I talked to my boss about it. Because one day at work, I about passed out, sitting at that desk. He told me it was stress. He checked my chest to make sure that I wasn't had bronchitis or something or some kind of congestion. And my heart sounded fine, because I am a smoker. So, yeah, maybe there's something going on with my lungs and my chest. But no, perfectly clear. So he said it was all just stress and told me to breathe. do these little breathing things anytime I felt like that again. So I'm like, okay, I trust you. And, I'm never sick. A couple weeks later, my legs were starting to swell. I guess I was starting to look ill because my coworkers, especially a couple of them, started to get very worried about me and would voice their, opinion. And mind you, my job that at that point I'd been at 15 years, we didn't have health insurance. And I made okay money, but between me and my husband, we were still living paycheck to paycheck. There was no money to go to the doctor. I couldn't pay for a doctor. So, I can't just see what's going to happen here. Then one day, I was at work, it was a Friday, and I started to feel real ill. And I threw up in the garbage can that sat right next to me. So I called my coworker, or actually I texted her, and I told her what was going on. And she said, okay, I will come in early and you can go home. I said, okay, that's great, because, you don't want to be at work throwing up. I mean, mind you, it wasn't like I, barfed up my whole breakfast or something like that, but I threw up, and I'm not a person who throws up. So she came in. Oh, and the place I worked was also a spa, so my coworker who worked front desk with me in the office, she was also an esthetician, so she did facials. And that day, she was already going to be coming in early anyways to give a facial to the wife of the owner, which they're both owners. So of course, she had to cancel that. So she sent me home, and I went home feeling horrible, wondering what was wrong with me. And I get a text about an hour later from my boss, the female boss, telling me that I was let go because I was a distraction at work. Okay. Whatever. On one hand, I was upset because, well, that's pretty much bullshit. But I hated my job. I'd been there for 15 years. Always wanted to get out of there, but I hate looking for a job, so that was an excuse. So I stayed all that time, miserable. But, so there you go. That's that part. So now I'm home all the time. I started to still feel worse. And I started to swell even more. It was traveling up my body. Very odd, very, very odd. I looked for a job for a couple months. And during that time, like I said, the swelling was just getting worse and worse. It had traveled all the way up to right underneath my breasts. And I gained over 50 pounds in a matter of a couple months. It just kind of showed up. And that was very odd. My shoes wouldn't fit because my feet were so large. My clothes didn't fit. Even my fat clothes, they didn't fit as well. I, of course, had to go to Goodwill and buy some very large elastic band pants so I'd have something to wear other than this one sundress I had that still fit because it was such a baggy dress. I was getting to the point where moving was a struggle, walking was a struggle, but I trudged through. Did what I had to do. We have no money. My husband doesn't make much money. He's only working 2 days a week. He's handicapped, so he can't do a lot. And so I had to do everything. And I had to find a job. I finally did find a job. And by that time, I could barely walk. I'd gained so much, I could barely walk, and I did not have energy. And now, a lot of people, you'll experience not having energy. But this was different. My husband would be like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm tired." And he'd say, "Well, take a nap." Like, it's not that kind of tired. And it's kind of like if you haven't slept all night and you ran a marathon. It's that kind of tired. I doubt many of you have experienced that combination to get that kind of tired, but that's the best way I can describe it. But I like I said, I found a new job and I started working there. Now this job, in a couple months, like 2 to 3 months, I would get insurance. So I made the plan that, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get through this. I'm just going to work through it. I'm just going to do what I have to do. Man up. Do what I got to do. And then I'll eventually get insurance. And I'll eventually go to the doctor. Because there's something wrong. By the end of the week, my first week at work, let's just say, going out on break, I didn't want to go out on break. Because just walking the distance from where I worked to outside to the outbreak area was too much. So come that Friday, because we worked like 10-hour shifts, 4 days a week, which is also a bonus. Come Friday, or actually come Thursday, at the end of that work day, I'm just like, okay, my husband had been trying to get me to go to the hospital all this time. But I was like, no, we have no money. We don't need this big medical bill above us. I don't have insurance, don't have money. No, I'm fine. It's just, I'm fine. I'll just bear it. So, that Thursday afternoon, after I got off work, I went home. And I said, okay, tomorrow we're taking me to the hospital. I'd never felt like that in my life, and it was frightening. So the next day, we go to the hospital. He brings me in. I'm wearing that dress that fits, and I'm walking slow because I can barely get from the car in the parking lot to the entrance of the ER. And we went to the desk, and he's like, make sure you tell them that you're having a hard time breathing. I said, okay. So I told them. They said, okay, well, somebody will be right with you. Just a minute, have a seat. So waited a couple minutes. Got called in for other people. And nurse just, she took my blood pressure, asked me some questions, temperature, the little oxygen thing on your finger. And she's like, okay, so we'll be right with you to take you in. And I'm just like, now this is my first experience ever in an ER, let alone being in a hospital other than to visit somebody else. So I kind of felt like, well, maybe there's nothing wrong with me. Maybe because she doesn't seem to think there's anything wrong with me. Her expressions, the way she's talking, no sense of urgency, just almost like, and that was one fear I had from day one when I started not feeling good. Maybe it's all in my brain. At least all in my head, and I'm going to go acting like this is a big deal, and they're going to be like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to eat more vegetables. That's all. Because of course, from my upbringing, you eat more vegetables. You're healthy. So I had that fear. I'm just like, they're going to laugh in my face. Like, oh, you're overacting. You're a hypochondriac. So they took me back. Very, very nice. I gotta say, everybody was extremely nice. All except for one doctor in the ER. And he wasn't not nice. He was just straight to the point, blah, So they brought, they said they were concerned. And they brought an x-ray in to make sure that, yes, I didn't have any congestion. And they brought this thing in saying it was an echo and they wanted to check my heart. I was like, my heart? Okay, whatever. And then they came back in a little while later And mind you, by this time, I've been there for quite some time, I was so freaking tired and hungry. I hadn't eaten because, we didn't really have any food in the house to eat because we didn't have any money. So I wasn't eating much, and I felt so horrible that I didn't eat much anyways. It was kind of hard to do. So I asked, and they got me some food, and they told me that they were admitting me. I was like, why? You're admitting me? And they're like, yeah. And they told me, we're concerned about your heart, and you've got diabetes. I was like, seriously? You're concerned about my heart and I have diabetes? What the hell is going on here? So long story short, I got admitted. They did more tests on me. And then they came to me and told me that I had congestive heart failure along with the diabetes. I'm like, what the hell's that? And it's kind of complicated to even explain what it is, but I'll tell you, they told me I was dying. I was literally in the process of dying. I was 40 years old, always been healthy, and I was dying. They said my heart was only working at 20%, so it could barely keep me alive. Now, that's a weird thing to find out. And I asked why. What the hell happened to me? They couldn't really tell me. I forget what the technical term is for it, because it's kind of unknown origin, and they attribute it to a virus. Because there's many ways you can get congestive heart failure. Number one, having clogged arteries for an extended period of time, that can cause it. Extreme drug addiction can cause it. A few people, when they are pregnant, it can trigger it. Probably not trigger it, probably just pushes it along a little faster, since there's two bodies being run by the one heart, so the heart can't take it and slows down. And the other way, and what they think is what caused mine, is a virus. Now, nobody can really tell me much about this virus. All they can really tell me is that they can prove it exists. It's a virus that attacks the heart specifically. They can't tell you how you get it, where it comes from, and the only way they can prove it is because they've been able to induce it in animals. Like, okay, whatever. Can't really argue with it because they can't really tell you shit anyways. So they said the swelling that I was having, which I forgot to tell you, the swelling in my legs also started causing these red splotches, like my skin was about to burst open. It's very freaky. If you saw a picture of the way my feet looked, ooh, freaky. They said that was caused by the heart failure. All the swelling. My body was absorbing every ounce of anything I drank. And with the diabetes that apparently I must have had for quite many years, because that foot issue I had, that feeling that was nagging the pain, that was neuropathy in my feet, which is not a pleasant feeling. Keeps you up at night. So that's what that was. But with the diabetes, untreated, I was thirsty all the time. So I drank a lot of liquid. And that urination, that frequent urination I always had, yeah, with the swelling, I wasn't peeing. I was almost never peeing. and my usual clear urine was kind of dark. So that explains that. So the body was filling up with all the fluids and backing up. So blood was not getting to my heart, my lungs. My lungs were filling up with blood, actually. So that's why I couldn't breathe. So they put me on a bunch of stuff. They educated me about the diabetes, started me on insulin right away. My A1C was 11. They didn't tell me what my blood sugar actually was at that point in time, but I know it was high. So they started me on that. They gave me gabapentin, which helps with the foot neuropathy, which is awesome stuff. Kind of weird when you first start taking it because it makes you feel like a combination of drunk and high. Eventually that wears off, you get used to it. So I take that 3 times a day. And I can still feel my feet. They still cause issues. And every now and then they bother me enough to keep me up a little bit at night. But the gabapentin, I fall right to sleep most of the times. Thank God. And they gave me heart medicine because I also had high blood pressure. And they kept me in there for about 7 days, I think it was. And they wouldn't let me leave until I got something called a life vest. Now, what a life vest is, it's something you wear. That's what this is. And let's see if I can get it to show you. This is, some people wonder if I have a diabetic insulin pump. No, this is the battery pack and the basically all the electronics that go with it. And basically it's a thing that I put on and have to wear all the time. It has electrodes and sensors on it and defibrillators on it, because that's what it is. It's a defibrillator. So if my heart stops or starts to fibrillate, it will shock me back to life and keep me alive until I get to the hospital. So yeah, apparently it's pretty serious. I could die at any time. And the only thing that you can really do for it, from what I've learned thus far, because I still don't have a freaking cardiologist, for many reasons. One, I was supposed to wait 3 months till I got the Medicaid, and then go back to see the cardiologist. But lo and behold, that cardiologist that I saw in the hospital does not accept Medicaid. So I had to find a cardiologist. And then they changed my insurance to a HMO, which still pretty much the same benefits as Medicaid, but they have provider lists. So I then had to find another doctor. And then I finally found that doctor, and he was an idiot and an asshole. So I decided, no, I'm not going back to him. So I'm still looking for a cardiologist. Hopefully here soon I'll have one, a permanent one, because really all they do is they give you meds, keep your blood pressure in check, try to improve the heart. Doesn't always improve, a lot of times it doesn't, and the fact that I was okayed without having to get a lawyer involved in disability means, yeah, my heart hasn't gotten better. But they give you meds, and then eventually I will have to have surgery to put a defibrillator on my heart, directly on my heart, as a just-in-case measure. In worst-case scenario, I'll have to have a heart transplant. Hopefully that will never happen. I'm already freaked out about getting something, any kind of surgery, putting something on my heart. That's wiggy. Especially for somebody who has never had anything broken, nothing. All this has been kind of crazy. I've done pretty good with the diabetes. I have lowered my A1C. I think it was 6.4 the last time. Got another test coming up here soon. So I've managed it. the goal is to get off of meds. Hopefully I'll get there. Well, I guess that's really it. Just background on me. So if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer. Future videos will not be about this stuff, unless there's just some interesting little tidbit I thought you might find interesting and entertaining, because I'm hoping to make entertaining videos, not this kind of stuff. But I thought it'd be important to let people know about me, and if they're questioning what the hell is this weird strap that they see all the time, they'll know. Or why I look tired. Why I am tired and sluggish. I can barely move. So thanks for watching. I hope to have another video up soon, and I hope that the next one will be far more entertaining, and that you will give it a try, and not let this deter you. Right, thanks.